dry rotted, there was an airtight seal on this thing. The fluids drained out of the body while it was sealed, and when the rubber started to go, they evaporated. He does look like he has fangs, Joe pointed out. Just slightly enlarged canines, Patricia countered. My grandmother had teeth just like that, and she wasn't a vampire either. Her eye kept drifting back to the cross. If it was real... She forced her attention back to the moment. Okay, we're pathologists. Time to pathologize. Let's cook some tissue samples and see what really makes everyone think this Baron Zginski was a vampire. Porphyria, anemia, or just plain psychosis. There's no chemical test for psychosis. Your point? It's nearly 6 o'clock. You have a date? He looked down. No, he said pathetically. Well, you do now. With a Bunsen burner. I'm your TA, not your slave, he said. Patricia's eyes widened in mock outrage. She was the only black on the school's faculty, and one of only 3 women. But she'd worked with Joe long enough to know he had no idea how appallingly insensitive his remark, intended as a joke, might be. Maybe someday this would change. But now, in 1975, she decided to simply treat it as intended. All right, I'm going, Joe said, and went to gather the test tubes. 2 hours later, while Joe prepared the tissue samples in the lab, Patricia went into the empty teacher's lounge, poured the last of the god-awful coffee, and settled onto the green vinyl couch. The museum curator had been kind enough to send along Sir Francis Colby's original documentation on the Zginski case, in which Colby had been prosecutor and executioner, as it turned out. She opened the folder and read the first yellowed, handwritten page. 16 June, 1915. Passelwaith, nestled among the Welsh hills, almost cut off from any sign of civilization. Were you to stand in the center of the town square and look in any direction, only green hills and gray sky would greet you. The people were equally isolated, aware of the modern world, but preferring to exist in the superstitious nether regions of their ancestors. Magic still existed in Passelwaith, or at least the belief in magic persisted. I journeyed to Passelwaith in response to a cryptic summons from one Arthur German, the local physician. He'd been referred to me by Professor Alistair, and his letter described a problem so unusual I was unable to resist. I arrived just before sundown, as requested. It was a relief to be away from London after the Zeppelin air raids at the first of the month. Here in Wales, no trace of the ghastly war could be found. The town seemed to be deserted as I climbed from my motor car. Usually the sight of the great rumbling beast, technology's dire imitation of the horse, drew entire populations. I lit a cigar and waited to be noticed, 1 foot rakishly on the running board. That is, as rakish as a man my age could be. In a few moments another man, as middle-aged and portly as I, literally skulked toward me, checking frequently behind him. Finally he stood erect and made an effort to reclaim his dignity. "Sir Francis?" he asked. "Indeed," I said. "And you are Dr. German?" "Quite. Come, let's get inside, in case—" He caught himself before giving away too much, and I followed him into the nearest building. A typically Welsh choice, it turned out to be the local pub, and the entire male population of Passelwaith filled it. Dark, muscular men with faces like battered gargoyles, they gazed upon me with an expectancy almost religious in its intensity. Dr. German stepped forward. "We have only a few minutes of safety left to us, lads," Dr. German announced. "This is Sir Francis Colby, the eminent spiritualist. He's here to rid us of our problem. Is that not correct?" "I must know this problem first," I demurred. "It's that devil the Baron," one man cried. "Aye, Baron Zginski," echoed another. "And who is Baron Zginski?" I demanded. "A vampire," a man in a cleric's collar stated. "An unholy being who survives on the blood of the living. And he'll be the ruin of us all if he's not stopped." Having been briefed somewhat by Professor Alistair, I was not entirely surprised. The grip of superstition was still firm in Passelwaith. Indeed, they knew me only as